Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Chang, and I am currently an MBA candidate at Harvard Business School, and I am the former chapter lead of the St. Louis chapter of Women in Product. Welcome to the Lead Through Change stage. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, without whom this event would not be possible. Now, let's get some interaction going. Please put in the chat where you're from. I want to see where everyone is from and what kind of diverse representation we have today on this stage. Next on stage, I am thrilled to welcome Sonia Biddle, Director of Product at Etsy. Sonia is a native New Yorker with a decade of product experience. She currently leads the native apps team at Etsy, focused on building an engaging and rewarding shopping experience for its most loyal customers. Sonia Biddle will share her expertise with you during our presentation, Building an Ambiguity. Please join me in welcoming Sonia Biddle to our stage.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. The Women in Product community was such a big part of my transition into product, so I'm especially honored to get to present to you all. And today I thought that we could talk about building great products in ambiguity, aka what to do when you don't know what to do. So to introduce myself, hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a director of product at Etsy. I'm originally from Poland. My parents immigrated when I was 8 years old, and I grew up in New York City. I now live in Brooklyn with my dog named Cash and husband named Ben. A little bit about my career in product. So I joined Etsy in 2010, previously having worked in tech and finance in San Francisco. We were a little over 80 people when I joined, and now we're a little bit over 1,100. And somewhere in the middle, we became a publicly traded company. And over the last decade, I've worked on almost every part of the business: buyer side, seller side, B2B, B2C, web, and now native. And when I reflected on my time at Etsy, I realized that I changed projects or teams or roles pretty much every 15 months on average. So same company, lots of change. And while no two product careers are the same, I think the simple truth binds us all. The only constant for a product manager is change. So your job inherently requires resilience because really nothing stays constant. And I think that this has never been more true than it is right now. We really have no idea how the global pandemic is going to impact how we spend our time, our money, what motivates us, what drives us, and what we find important. So I thought it would be a good time to talk about ambiguity, but I've always felt like it was the dirty little word in product. Because your job is to know. You're supposed to be this all-knowing creature that has a firm grasp on the past, present, and future. And at any given point in time, you need to have a really strong point of view on what the biggest opportunities are, what your customers need, how you're going to meet that need, and ultimately how that's going to change over time. But here's the truth about product management. Sometimes, sure, you'll have a very well-defined project with clear success criteria. Occasionally, you might even get a top-down mandate to build a very specific thing, but most of the time, it's vague, unclear, or totally unknown. And when I talk about ambiguity, I'm referring to situations where causal relationships are unclear, no precedents exist, and the team is probably facing unknown unknowns. And you might be asking, why is this important? Because humans hate uncertainty. Our brains are simply wired that way. Uncertainty breeds anxiety. And I think this is amplified for product managers because we despise not having the answers. And we alleviate our anxiety with a need for closure. And I think it's ultimately that need for closure that hurts our ability to explore bolder solutions and build better products for our customers. Now, let's talk about what to do when you don't know what to do. I don't think anything I'm going to say today is revolutionary, but I do hope that it gives you some tools to fight that need for closure so that you can build bolder and more revolutionary products. And whenever I don't know what to do, I try to be transparent, set the direction, involve the team, and really start small. So step 1, be transparent. Said differently, keep it real with your team, especially if you have no idea what to do. So be upfront about what you know and what you don't know. Part of your job as a product manager is to ensure that everyone around you has the same context as you. So yes, you want to give your team reassurances, you want to share the facts you know, but focusing on what you don't know can be a really powerful tool. And call it like it is, literally. If the project is going to be a wild roller coaster ride, use that language with your team. This starts to mentally prepare everyone for the twists, turns, and potential queasiness ahead. Be empathetic. Empathy is really key when you're communicating change or uncertainty. In most cases, the information you're sharing will have a real impact on a personal level. So share your own perspective, how this impacts you, and really create space for others to share their fears and concerns with you. Getting that out of the way early on helps everyone stay focused on figuring out the problem space together. Lastly, focus on what you can control. Being a product manager can be pretty overwhelming. There are always going to be a million things that matter and that are important to the success of the project. And of course, you need to be aware and transparent of the dependencies you can't control. But at the start of each day, focus your time and energy on the things you can control. Next, set the direction. Remember, your job is not to come up with the solutions or to solve the problem for everyone. Your job is to identify the best way forward for the team. And you do that by setting guardrails. You want to define the problem, challenge, or opportunity. You can't lead your team to success if you don't have a super good grasp on the issue at hand. Now, I'm breezing over this part, but setting the guardrails is probably the thing that's going to take the most time and research and thinking. So be really thoughtful and strategic about how you outline these guardrails and the time you put into this. And focus on customer outcomes, not features. Once you know what the issue and opportunity is, frame it in one sentence from the customer point of view and make this the team mantra. Put it everywhere. Repeat it constantly. Customer outcome statements are a really big part of Etsy's product delivery culture. An outcome statement is a desirable end result for your team wants to create, expressed as a positive capability for your customers that generates value both for them as well as the business. So as an example, as an Etsy seller, I'm able to increase my sales by sharing the right information about my product with potential buyers. This is expressed from the seller point of view. It's measurable by increased sales, and it provides the ability to show the right information at the right time as the new capability we want to create. Outcome statements are the beginning of how we organize our work. They're that big, meaty opportunity at the top. And I'll talk more about this framework and how we break it down our work in the Start Small section. Next, define what success looks like. Really deconstruct it and then create measures for knowing when you've achieved it. The thing about uncertainty and ambiguity is that it makes the unknown future a really scary space. If you can paint the picture of what success looks and feels like, it really helps your team visualize a positive future state, and that can alleviate some of that short-term anxiety. Outline non-goals. I really love this practice. You may think that the goals are really obvious to the team, but clarifying what is not the goal really helps everyone understand the parameters within which they can explore and build. So as an example, you might tell your team your goal is to increase signups for the company newsletter, and there are a lot of different ways you can drive those subscriptions. But if you explain that a non-goal is to increase the number of people coming to the site, therefore the pool of candidates to sign up, it makes it really clear that what you're looking to do is to increase sign-up conversion rate. Next, involve the team. This feels really obvious. Being a good collaborator is key to being a good product manager, but all too frequently we feel the pressure to figure it all out on our own and then present our team a really thoughtful plan. So before you get started, figure out how you all roll. So many projects get derailed because of the basic differences in people's working styles. So take the time to surface those differences and preferences from the start. How we roll is an exercise that can be easily done remotely. It's great for any time you have a mix of people who haven't worked together before. So you create a scorecard and have members plot themselves on various spectrums. Are they an early bird or a night owl? Do they prefer email or Slack? Do they like to work together in a collaborative space or go off alone and think? Then they rate how important these things are. Does it matter a lot, or are they flexible on it? You end up with visibility into each person's preferred working styles, and so you can start to shape your team's operating principles. Now that you know how to work together, you need to create the time and space for team ideation. For that, good calendar hygiene is really critical. This is generally what a product manager's calendar looks like. There's no time for ad hoc meetings. When inspiration hits, there's no time to think deeply about the long term, and there's no time to do actual tangible work during business hours. So I encourage you all to audit your calendars aggressively, remove meetings that could just be an email or a Slack, and maybe even decline invites that don't include agendas. And a great way to mitigate meeting fatigue is to block off no meeting times. So coordinate with your squad and align on a time or a day where you can all commit to avoiding scheduling meetings. Pro tip, if you make the meeting sound really important, like long-term strategic planning, people are way less likely to schedule over it. And once you have the time, you need to create the space for ideation. Virtual workshop software is really helpful for this. I want to plug Miro boards. They're awesome. We use them even before we went remote. It's great because you end up with a digital archive of all the sticky notes and worksheets from your session that you would have normally been filling out by hand. Once you bring everyone together, remember to think divergently. Opportunities to think divergently are built into product teams. You already have so many different perspectives, points of view on one squad from engineering to product marketing. So really leverage that. Plus, you have access to all of these other roles across the company that can bring a totally different perspective to the problem you're trying to solve. So reach out to these people and involve them early on. And of course, once you bring everybody together, remember to empower decision-making. I promise you will be pleasantly surprised by the amazing outcomes when you empower your team to make decisions on their own. So finally, start small so you can learn fast. Break down the work into small chunks, the absolute smallest changes you can make to get signal. Sometimes projects can take multiple months, even years to accomplish. So break down the work that needs to get done and break down what needs to get done and what needs to be true into the smallest measurable milestones. It's going to help your team feel accomplished along the way. And most importantly, it's going to allow you to experiment quickly, which is really critical in ensuring you're validating your ideas and you're able to course correct early without making too much of an investment. So we use a hierarchy framework to break down our work at Etsy. I mentioned customer outcomes earlier in the presentation. These are the large, meaty opportunities you're working towards, like ensuring your customers have the right information at the right time. Below that are the proposals of value or the potential solutions that might help you deliver on the customer outcome. Now, in order to give customers the right information at the right time, maybe we can make attributes more useful. Or maybe we can create buyer feedback loops. Or maybe we can make product descriptions just easier to read. And below those are your hypotheses. So these are the small bets and changes that help you gain knowledge and confidence that your solutions are headed in the right direction. What if you change the UI to show attributes more prominently higher up on the screen? Or what if you allow buyers to give feedback on image quality? Or maybe we just reduce the character limit of the description. Testing these small, low-effort changes will help us learn quickly and validate that our solutions are going in the right direction. So with this framework, you need to really embrace short-term strategies. This is admittedly much harder said than it is done. It's a large departure from the way most companies currently operate. At Etsy, we've seen great success in moving from a 12-month strategy to a multi-quarter strategy. It definitely requires strong upward communication so your leadership team has confidence in your progress and doesn't try to get too in the weeds. Now, a framework I like to use to articulate the multi-quarter strategy is now, next, later. For now, you want to be crystal clear on what you're doing. You know exactly what your problem is. You know what the opportunities looks like. You have solutions in mind that you've validated with research and insights, and you probably have some experiments queued up. What's coming next can be a little fuzzy. You have less confidence in the problem space. The solutions haven't been validated yet. You probably need to do way more research. And what you're doing later is not well defined at all. And this is admittedly probably going to change. What you do in the later column is based on what you do and learn during now and next phases. So don't get too committed to those plans. And remember to celebrate the victories. Accomplishments early in an ambiguous project are extremely important. So celebrate them no matter how big or small. And make it really clear that your team members are vital to the success of the project. So when in doubt, be transparent, set the direction, involve the team, and start small. And I want to leave you with a reminder that product management is about leadership, and leadership is not static. And social scientist Miguel Escotet identified 4 qualities that are key to managing ambiguity, and those are being self-critical, curious, flexible, and risk-embracing. So I encourage you all today to step back and assess yourself in these areas so you can be better about building products in ambiguity. And with that, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sonia, and to all those who have joined us live today. Meet us at the main stage in just a few minutes for our closing keynotes. Be sure to check out our many ways to network with your fellow attendees. Reach out directly or meet someone new in our networking mixers under sessions where you'll be paired with a fellow product manager for a timed chat. We want your feedback. See the in-app agenda to review sessions and talks, then continue the discussion in group chats. Log on to the #20WIP or #20WIP app to review presentation decks and replay any talks you missed or want to dive deeper into. I know a lot of us are either currently job seeking or always on the lookout for the next cool opportunity. If that's you, check out the Hop and sponsor booths. You'll find recruiters ready to chat and product managers from your dream companies to give you the breakdown on what it takes to work there. Thank you again for joining us.